my name is Molly Crenshaw. I'm an instructor of anatomy and physiology here at TCU, and I wanted to run through the lab syllabus for AMP1 for the fall 2019 semester. So to begin with here, when you go to lab, you should meet your instructor for the first time. And it is important to note that your lab instructor and your lecture instructor may be different, and that's all right. We do teach all the same things across each lab. We use the same lab manual across each lab, and so you'll find that it's pretty universal in nature as you read this syllabus. I did provide my name, my email address, and my office number. And of course, when you get into TCU Online, you'll see a copy of my schedule there, so you'll know when I'll be present and when office hours are going to take place. So required texts are going to include the textbook. In your lecture syllabus, you'll see a lot more options for how to purchase that. If you have the e-text on your phone or on a tablet, you may want to prefer to bring that instead of bringing the actual lecture textbook, but you should have this with you every time you come to lab. It's going to be very helpful. You, of course, are also required to purchase a new 2024 lab manual. This is going to be purchased through Frog Prints on the first floor of the Grand Mark. This is the housing apartment system that's going to be located across the street from Bass. So make sure you purchase those and bring them to lab the very first day. Now, of course, this lab goes hand in hand with the lecture, so you'll find that the course description here is going to be the same as what you see in your lecture syllabus. You'll also find here that your grade in lab is just a component of the overall course grade. So lecture is going to count as 65%, while lab is going to be 35%. And here you can see how that's broken down. 25% of your lab grade is going to come from 2 laboratory practical exams, and 10% is going to come from 9 laboratory quizzes. Each one of these is worth 5 points. Let's talk about these quizzes first. These 9 lab quizzes over the course of the semester, worth 5 points, are going to be covering material from a day's lab period. Okay, so when you come into lab every day, you're going to be learning new material, and before you leave lab, you will take this quiz over that material that you just learned. At that time, cell phones, smartwatches have to be turned off and put away. You'll take your quiz, and then you won't be allowed to return after you finish the quiz and you've left. We will talk some more about these quizzes as we get started in the class. And at the beginning of each class, I tend to give you an idea of what quiz questions could look like. We'll also mention a lot of example questions in the lab manual. So it's very important that you're reading the lab manual every time you go through an exercise to see some of these example questions. In addition to that, we have these 2 major lab examinations. These are going to be practical exams. We'll only give 2 of them, one at midterm and one at finals. They are timed, and what you'll see here is that there are 50 stations for each exam, and that each station is going to be 1 minute in its existence. So you'll have 1 minute to answer a question, and then you'll move to the next station. You will be looking at all the models, the dissections, the histology from your lab periods. And so you want to make sure that you are studying those in preparation for a practical exam like what we give right here. One of the things that you'll find is the quizzes are very similar in format to the major lab exams, and we do that to help you prepare. So pay attention to the way questions are labeled and set out during your laboratory quizzes, because that's going to be the best preparation for the major exams. Because of the nature of these lab exams, it is only in the most extreme circumstances that we do give makeups. So we do expect you to be there, to be on time, and to complete the exam with us, because we very rarely allow students to make these up. Attendance is going to be essential to the course in itself. We do take attendance at the very beginning of the class. If you're late and counted absent, then that means that even though you might be present for the majority of the lab, you will not be allowed to take the lab quiz at the end and will receive a 0 for that day. So you must be there on time. If you happen to miss a lab for any reason, you need to contact me within 24 hours. If the case of the absence is going to be serious, catastrophic, then we can consider the opportunity to make up the lab. If we do that, then it must be completed within 1 week of returning to campus. If you wait too long, wait till the end of the semester, and then you ask me to make it up, I may not have time to do that. So again, the earlier that you contact me and you work this out, the more likely it is we'll be able to actually make up the missed lab. If you miss an exam or a quiz or a lab due to a university-associated absence, then it is important that you contact me before your date of absence so we can schedule the makeup. For lab preparation, you are expected to arrive at lab on time or early and prepared. You'll find in your syllabus schedule there's a list of reading topics for each lab period. you should read every lab exercise before you get to class, as well as the associated textbook readings that are listed within the lab syllabus. I periodically post YouTube videos, and you can find those at this link. I'll also post those videos individually in TCU Online. Right? You may not take any lab materials out of the lab, and you may bring cameras and phones for pictures and video here into the lab at our discretion. And of course, you will be allowed to access the internet while you are in class, but not during quizzes or exams. TCU Online is where we're going to be posting all of our grades, but this is important. We only update the practical we only update the lab averages into your lecture course of TCU Online twice a semester. So you will not see this grade rolling into your overall, except for at midterm and finals. So please let us know if you've got any questions about that, but hopefully knowing that up front will keep you from wondering what's going on with your grade. Disability services. We do accommodate certain disabilities here within the lab, but we need to have paperwork in order to do that. My advice to you is this: if you are receiving accommodations or requesting accommodations for the first time this semester, then you need to make sure you give at least 3 weeks of time between submitting paperwork with the disability services and actually having paperwork in your hand. They're very busy at the beginning of the semester, so the more time you give them, the more likely you are to have those accommodations in a timely manner. As an instructor, I cannot grant you any accommodations in the class until I have signed paperwork from Disability Services. So in order to get that signed, you do have to set up a meeting with me alone in my office so that we can discuss your need for accommodations in a private environment. So please make sure that you set that up with me with as much time as possible so that we can make sure we get those accommodations provided to you as needed. So here, of course, I mentioned academic misconduct and then some other miscellaneous notes for the class, but the most important thing here at the very end is your schedule. Now, as you look at this document, you're going to see that there are 2 schedules present. There is one present for all labs that meet Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and a second schedule that's going to concern what happens on Tuesdays. Please make sure that you pay attention to the correct schedule. If you miss class because you're reading the wrong schedule, that will not be considered an excused absence. So here you can see dates for the week of. So August 26th will be a Monday, but that's telling you everything that's happening on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday labs. Here you'll see what we're covering in lab, along with the reading from the lab manual as well as your textbook. And this tells you the quiz number that we'll be taking at the end of class that day. We do offer, again, 2 lab practicals, right? Here's Lab Practical 1 the week of September 30th, and then Lab Practical 2 the week of November 18th. Prior to those, we open up the labs on a Friday from 9 to 5 to give you access to all the materials that you may be seeing on the exam itself. So make sure you put that into your schedule. Make sure that you're in attendance. This is the only time that we offer these open labs during the semester. If you've got any questions on this syllabus, make sure you reach out to me. I'll be happy to answer those for you. I'm looking forward to a great semester and hope that you are too.